Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, we are on episode 106 of the Steve and Crypto Show, of course, presented by thestevestrout.com. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. Thank you guys for listening. We're here. It's almost the end of January already. Honestly, it's kind of been flying by. But we've actually had a decent amount of horror stuff that's been popping up and a lot of things to talk about for our podcast, which we are going to get to soon. We're going to do an episode coming up, where we're just going to chat and kind of talk about what we've been catching up on. So, but until then, this is episode 106, and we thank you guys for listening. And of course, if you want to support the show in any way, you can visit the following. We have a Patreon page, which you can go to patreon.com/SteveCrypto and find everything we got going on there. We have a little assortment of videos, some audio stuff. There's some things that aren't necessarily related to our show. Like, as Steve has said before, we're trying to let you guys in a little bit as to like what we do outside of the show, so you'll find some podcasts there related to Steve and his fiance talking about board games that they play. And then, there's a thing on there about my family going to check out dinosaurs recently. I know dinosaurs where you have to check that out. Go to patreon.com/SteveCrypto. And do you like coffee? I know we do. If you want to buy a coffee, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. I know you're like, I could just go to Starbucks. Why would I go there? This is a special coffee. And this coffee goes towards our podcast. It goes towards everything related to our show. It's a metaphorical coffee, you could say. And so, yeah, it basically just covers everything regarding the Steve and Crypto Show. Helps out with merch, advertising, all kinds of different things. I mean, it costs just to keep this show going. So, we're doing everything that we can to keep things rolling, with what we can provide. And we greatly, greatly appreciate everybody out there who has contributed to our show and who has bought us a coffee. Do you like merch? I know we do. We're a couple of nerds. We like merch.
I got too much merch, to be
honest.
Most
of you guys do. Yeah. I've been trying to downsize myself, but you know what I'm not trying to downsize on is my collection of podcast merch. Like, there's some cool ones out there, but I got to say, they don't have a bitchin' coffee mug like we do. If you want to head over to Etsy/shop/Steve and Crypto merch, you can check out 2 t-shirt designs. You can check out a coffee mug. We have magnets. Steve is trying to not look at the screen right now because we're having a little bit of a glitch in Zoom and it looks like I'm having a stroke. But yeah, we have merch galore at Etsy/shop/Steve and Crypto merch. I'm doing my best to get that out before I stroke.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Let's figure that out. Anybody have an issue? Like, we usually do this remotely through Zoom, and his screen is tripping and
glitching.
He's glitching, and it's like he's kind of doing some weird half seizure, half head banging, partial stroke type thing.
And it just looked like I had a stroke.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe he needs to update his Zoom program or something. I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, merch, buy me a coffee, Patreon, and you can also follow us on social media. He's at CryptoZoo88. I'm the Steve Strout. That's on Twitter and Instagram.
That's right.
We have the Facebook group, It's go on Facebook, search for the Stephen Crypto Show. You could go there. We post all the latest info about the show. And we also encourage all our friends and people in the group to post anything they're working on, any projects. You got a book, you got a movie coming, you got a crowdfunding campaign going that you want to raise some funds for your project. Post it all in there. You're selling art. You got a sale in your art store. Post it in there. Or just show us over. Just come in and just have a conversation and check out what other people are doing. Just the Stephen Crypto Show group on Facebook is the place to be. It's been growing quite a bit over the last year, so that's cool.
And we're pretty open to all different types of things that you guys are pushing, as long as you're not trying to sell farts in a jar. I don't think we really need that on our page.
We don't need farts in a jar. We're making enough.
We're saving that for when we're ready to do that.
Yeah, and don't bring no religious or fucking political shit in there either. We don't got time for that. So those are all the ways you can support us. We also have a couple of friends we'd like you to support. We have the Halloween Shirt Company, HalloweenShirtCompany.com. Go there and check out their awesome kind of vintage themed Halloween and spooky gear. They usually have stuff to come out for most of the seasons, most of the holidays. Check that out, HalloweenShirtCompany.com. And then, of course, our friends over at Fairflix. They show us a lot of love, so we got to show them some. They are a streaming service available on your Roku device, and they feature tons of indie horror, classic horror, a lot of hosted horror shows, including After Hours Cinema. Our friend, those guys over there are so awesome and show us a ton of love on there. And
yeah, we love
you
those
watch
guys.
It. You might see our faces pop up on there every once in a while. So head over to those places, check them all out. This week, we have a guest. Speaking of, I mentioned crowdfunding stuff. He's actually in the middle of a campaign for his film Grandma, which is going to be just a crazy gore fest, shot on VHS style movie that I think you guys listen to us, you'll dig. He's going to tell us about that and a couple other things he's done. So his name is Bobby Canipe. He is here to talk to us in just a moment. And after that chat, we're going to come back and we have a fun trivia question for you, of course, and a announcement about the show. There's going to be a little change, probably temporary, but it's going to be a change nonetheless. We're not going away, but we are changing something for a little while for all of our own well-being. But let's meet Bobby Canipe, and we will be back after that chat.
Hey, horror and pop culture fans. This is actress Elise Costin from Interfere 2 and After Hours Cinema, and you are listening to The Steve and Crypto Show.
We all love a good ghost story, but have you ever wondered how it came to be?
Have you ever wanted to dig deeper into the true history of your favorite stories of the macabre?
How about whether or not it really went down that way?
Join us bi-weekly on Ghoulish Tendencies podcast, where we, two paranormal investigators, delve into the depths of the famous and not so famous cases of murder, ghosts, legends, and lore, with a healthy dose of debunking.
I'm Gabby, the resident Mulder.
And I'm Kim, the resident Scully.
And we're your ghostesses of Ghoulish Tendencies podcast, found wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay spooky!
Hey, this is Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo.
You know, we're coming up on 2 years of doing this podcast. Did you honestly think we'd last this long?
2 years already? Hell yeah, I did.
You know, at first I didn't either until I figured out that we were going to distribute the show through Anchor. Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's hands down the easiest way to make a podcast. It's like everything you need in one place to make your show. It allows you to record and edit the podcast right on your phone or computer. And then it'll even distribute the show for you to places like Spotify, Apple, and so many more.
Some of your favorite musicians, celebrities, even your friends are doing podcasts. And why shouldn't you? Join in on the fun, let your voice be heard, Even if only 10 people hear it, it's going to be something that you're going to treasure down the road. I'm promising you, you're going to be happy that you did it. And you're going to be happy that you used Anchor, because it's really everything that you need to make a podcast in one place. And the best part, it's totally free. So make sure you download the Anchor app or go to the Anchor FM to get started. And now back to the show.
This is Fiona Dura, and you're listening to the Stephen Crypto Show.
Hey, we are on the Stephen Crypto Show, and we are joined by an indie filmmaker named Bobby Canipe. He has just recently launched a crowdfunding campaign for his new horror film. If I'm not mistaken, if I read everything right, it's going to be a modern shot on video film called Grandma. I found out about Bobby through caught wind of a documentary he put together called the Mom and Pop indie video store boom.
Yeah, indie video store boom of the 80s and 90s.
And it was awesome. I got a hold of a copy of it from him, and it was an awesome documentary. There's a lot of people that put out documentaries about the video store days, but this was definitely one of my favorite ones. I still got to make sure Crypto sees it, but so I know him through that, and I caught wind of another campaign he had going for, I think it was for Woke. I think you're directing.
Yep.
And I contributed to that, and just by following, he's really good with keeping up on the people who support the campaign and follow him. And he reached out and mentioned Grandma, the new film he's working on, and he is here to tell us about that and hype that up for you guys. So let's jump right in. What's Grandma about?
Yeah, so Grandma. So a little backstory. I grew up at the video store, like literally every weekend I was there. Sometimes my mom would drop me off, and they would literally babysit me for an hour, and I'd walk around the video store. Like, that's how much I spent. So, being at the video store, I eventually got into shot on video horror movies, because at the video store that I was nearby was a little kind of community one, and they had a lot of weird stuff, man, like crazy stuff like Lunch Meat 555, stuff like that, Cannibal Campout. So I started watching that, and that really became kind of ingrained in my childhood, renting these tapes and watching these shot on video movies made by these independent directors. And, when I soaked it in, I enjoyed the movies, but I really enjoyed the process of a VHS tape, of the cool artwork, of, the trailers before it and all that. So that's kind of what got me into filmmaking. And I decided, hey, I want to pay homage to that. And I want to make a movie similar to the ones that I watched growing up, these shot on video. So we're making Grandma, and it's shot on video. We're shooting on tape with 90s camcorders. And I'm trying to envelop that entire experience. So when you start the movie, it's going to have trailers at the beginning. It's going to have coming attractions, all that stuff. It's going to have some tracking issues, that it has to work through, some discoloration, stuff like that. I want to have that whole experience, and that's what Grandma's hoping to be. Is, I put it right at the beginning, a modern shot on video. I want to shoot it in today, and we'll have the technology of today in the movie. They'll be on cell phones and stuff like that, but I want to shoot it in the style of that 90s shot on video. So that's what I'm hoping to do with Grandma, is re-experience that feeling that I had and a lot of other people had from renting these movies from the video store.
Nostalgia is like huge now too, so that's the
thing. And I'm a nut for nostalgia, and I always have been. I feel like I hit like maybe 15 or 16 years old, and like my likes pretty much stayed the same the rest of my life. I love tapes, I love comics, I love toys. I love all that stuff. So it's like, I'm just making something that I would like to see, basically.
You're on the right podcast. We love that stuff too. I worked in a video store for almost 4 years, and just same, I kind of, that was like my weekend thing as well. Never really been a sports nut. Movies were my thing growing up, and still are. And so I totally get the attraction, of just the covers of the movies and all that. And We thank you for your service. I'm looking forward to Grandma. From what I've
Thank you.
read, I'm
I'm looking
excited to
forward
see
to
it.
I'm excited for everybody to see it, man. I'm really excited about it. It's literally I've made several projects, but it's literally the closest probably to like what I really, really have always wanted to make. So I'm just trying to make a really fun movie that's not a thinker that you got to sit there and worry about. Like there's these kids and they're in this spot and they're gonna get killed. Like that's the movie, you know. But I think the creativity and the genius comes through with how they get killed. So we're making some really unique ways that look cool and have a ton of gore, but also kind of give like a nod to the viewer, like a little wink, like, hey, you might have seen this in another movie. So we're putting lots of little Easter eggs and cameos and stuff in the movie to kind of be like, wait, I think I remember that from this, and vice versa, stuff like that. Try to pay a lot of homage to these directors that never really got the credit they deserved. You know, like Tim Ritter and Donald Farmer and Kirk Alec, John McBride, all those people made these direct to video movies. And I mean, it took 35 years for them to even put them out on Blu-ray and start giving them the treatment they deserve, you know? So unsung heroes.
Right on. That's awesome. Yeah. You have some of those guys kind of involved in the project, don't you?
I do. So when I decided to do this project, I thought, what better people than the people that I'm literally trying to emulate? So I first set off before I did anything with Grandma. The first thing I did was there was a list of people I wanted, you know, on board, and if I could get them on board, I'm good. And that was like Donald Farmer, Tim Ritter, Mark Polonia, Todd Sheet, Dustin Ferguson, who's been doing a lot of recent stuff. That little side tangent. Dustin Ferguson, man, to me, when I talk to this guy, he's a director now. If you guys don't know who he is,
oh yeah,
but
yeah,
it feels like he's doing what they were doing back then. You know, just a different time. You know, and he's got a passion for these movies, man. That's crazy. So I brought him on board, and got like Eric Stantz in there, just a whole bunch of people. I think I got about 10 executive producers who are also doubling as creative consultants on the film. They're being creative consultants on everything from if they had unique camera angles they like to use, or if there was ever like a certain kind of equipment they like to use. We want to take something from every one of them and put it into this movie. So whether it be like the lighting style of Donald Farmer, or the the on the run shooting style of Tim Ritter, we're putting a little bit from each person, so it's a culmination of all these directors.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Can you mention any of the cast?
Yeah. So once again, I thought, what I wanted to do was, since it's a modern shot on video, I wanted to take several people from that era of video and take several people from today and kind of mix them together. Like I look at it like if you guys ever liked wrestling back when it was like WCW and WWF, you would be like, oh, what if Goldberg could fight Stone Cold or something like that? So my thought is like, I'm seeing these people that I like to see act now. I'm like, what would it be like if they got to act with Michelle Bauer, from Hard to Die? So that's what I'm trying to do. So I got Michelle Bauer, like I just said. She's in it. Courtney Lercara, who I really wanted because I love the movie Slaughterhouse, and she's in that. She's in Killing Spree, but she hadn't acted since 1993. So I set out trying to find her, and I found her. And actually, this is her first role in 30 years. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We've got Debbie Dutch from 976 Evil 2. We've got we got Brink Stevens. Brink Stevens. I mean, everybody knows Brink Stevens. She was in Slumber Party Massacre, like one of the best slashers ever. So yeah, I just got those four, and I've got a guy, Tony Cook. He did special effects on Hellraiser 3, The Boneyard, bunch of other stuff. And I got him coming in to help do some special effects with us. And then this hasn't been announced, so I'll say it here first. This is the first time. Pat Moran, who played the killer Jacko in the movie Jacko, is going to be in our film too. So I'm pretty stoked about that, because I don't think he's been in a movie outside of like a costume. So it'll be like the first time he's on camera without like a Jacko costume or something. So pretty stoked for that. But a lot of the executive producers are going to kind of make appearances as cast too, because we want to throw them in as like a little cameo. Like maybe the characters walk by a group of people and if you pause it and you look, that group of people is like filmmakers, like
Right.
Donald Farmer or something back there. But we just want to do fun stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely wanted some of the past cast that would have some names and some recognition mixed with the modern stuff and throw in some cameos.
That's really cool, man.
Thank you.
What's the basic story? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so basic story is, and when I thought of the story, I thought what I want to do is I want them to get to this place and the action start as fast as possible. So basically what it is the story they're telling you in the car on the way there. And it just drops in, and basically a young girl has moved to the city and her mom passes away. She's been estranged for a while from her. Her mom leaves her all this money. So she decides, all right, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to buy this old bed and breakfast that I used to go to with my dad when I was a little kid because it's been run down and out of business. So she buys the property and they arrive and they're going to fix it up, and they start dying while they're fixing it up. What they don't know is 20 years ago, after she moves, it comes out that grandma has been killing tourists and cooking them at the bed and breakfast to the locals. The locals don't know. Cops bust in, she disappears. So for the last 20, 25 years, nobody knew where grandma was. So now someone in a grandma mask is killing people, and the mystery is it grandma? Who's back? Who's doing these murders? But yeah, the lady running around in a grandma mask killing people in a bed and breakfast they're trying to open is the gist of it.
That
sounds
like
fun.
my kind of story.
Yeah.
Kind of story.
I like
I'm
it.
for it. Yeah.
I've always liked movies like Night of the Demons and stuff where it's just kids are in a place and they're dying. Like kids in a haunted house, kids in a diner, kids in the woods, whatever. So
it's entertainment. It's entertaining. It's all you need as long as
Yeah.
as long as you get creative with the kills and different, it's fun. I like to just be entertained. And I think
I
that's
like it too. Yeah.
that's like you say, you don't have to think too much or anything. You just sit down and fucking munch on some popcorn and let the crazy shit rip, and sometimes that's all you need. I mean,
That's
there's
it,
a,
man. And
there's a place for the other, the smart movies and this and that. There's a place and time for it, but like I said, you just need.
We just wanted to escape.
Yeah,
that's it, man. And I want people to know like what kind of movie they're getting into. Like straight off the bat, if you turn on Grandma, you're just gonna see cameos, Easter eggs, the shot on video films, and just straight up blood and gore and stereotypical characters. That's what we're going for. Just kind of turn your brain off and have fun kind of thing.
Yeah, and definitely seeing the art that you have out and about. It's like you can just tell by looking at you're in for a crazy, creepy, twisted ride. Who did the art for the poster?
So actually, Dustin Ferguson.
Did he?
The guy I was talking about earlier. Yeah. He. I was gonna hire somebody to like hand paint a poster or something, and I actually messaged him and was like, "Hey, do you know anybody?" He's out in California, so I said, "Do you know anybody out there that does this kind of thing?" And he goes, "Actually, I was gonna ask, can I whip something together?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then I mean, it's only like an hour or two later that shows up, and I'm like, "That was fast," So yeah, it worked out great because it incorporated the mask and everything. It has that. I wanted a cover that would make me want to grab it off the shelf if I was at the video store. And I mean, he did a good job. I would want to watch that movie,
Heck yeah.
Yeah, definitely has that vintage vibe, that like you're saying, video store vibe.
I don't know. I don't know how many movies we all rented as kids just because of the cover of the damn box.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so many. For me,
most of them, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And one out of every 5 or 6 that you watch, you're like, well, the movie ends, you're like, well, at least the cover art was good.
The box was cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, then a lot of times the cover art wouldn't even have anything to do with the movie. A lot of times you watch the movie and be like, "Wait, that was nothing like the cover."
Where are those boobs that were on the covers? Like, what?
Yeah.
So the campaign, it's Indiegogo, right?
Yep, it's on Indiegogo. As of today, we are halfway done. So we got 2 weeks left, 14 days left. We're almost halfway with the goal. We're just under. I think we're about 40%, something like that, to goal with 2 weeks left. But yeah, you can, if anybody speaking of the Indiegogo, if anybody wants to check it out, if you go to Indiegogo and just type in grandma, it literally comes straight up. Or you can go to the grandma page on Facebook by just searching grandma. We post about there all the time. Or if anybody wants to follow me, it's Bobby Canipe Jr. and I post about it as well.
Oh yeah, he's definitely constantly sharing new updates and stuff about it. So it's get on there and follow it.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of that, feel free to post something in our Steven Crypto group on Facebook as well, just to get it to that audience. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I will.
So you got a lot of cool perks on there. What are some of the popular and just what are some of the perks you got?
Yep. So one perk that I like, and it's actually my favorite perk, is it's called a grandma's basket or grandma's basket bundle. And what that includes is that includes a Blu-ray of the movie when it comes out. And then you get a sticker and a button, and the really special thing, a limited to 50 comics that Bloodscream Comics is doing. They're actually writing the prequel story that shows like how grandma got caught and stuff that leads directly into the movie, which is, I think, super, super cool. So yeah, that's the only way to get that cover of that comic book. After the Indiegogo is gone, they're going to do a standard cover, and you'll be able to get it. But they're going to do like an ultra gore cover or something on the Indiegogo one. So that's pretty cool. That's my favorite one. My second favorite perk is the VHS, which is limited to 100, only making 100. And when I'm making grandma, this whole process, like I've said, VHS is what I'm thinking in my head. Like if I think the ideal way to watch grandma, it's gonna be watching it on that VHS. So you have the actual physical to go with the medium that you're watching as well. So I do like those. But yeah, you can get other stuff like screen worn outfits and masks. We've got some of those. I think we've sold out of the bloody ones, but I think we got a couple of the clean ones left. So you can get like your own grandma mask. We can sign it if you want. We also have screen used weapons. So like the prop weapons that we use, we'll sign them, and you'll be able to like go to the movie and literally we'll tell you the time code where that weapon was used, so you can take a screenshot and be like, "Hey, that's actually the thing I've got."
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool too.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah, I mean, people like that. They like to frame it and go, "I have that." And here's the frame that it's being used in. So yeah, all the props that we're selling will be screen used. You will be able to see it on screen. Same thing with the masks. We had the 2 bloody masks, and then we'll have 2 clean ones, and you'll actually really be able to see the ones that you got. But yeah, and we've got the regular stuff like the Blu-rays, and we've got just special thanks and producer credits and stuff like that. So there's wide variety, and then of course I tell everybody, yeah, it's January, Christmas just happened, man. Money's not the best for everybody right now. I understand. Even just a share or a like, sends it out and gives it so much reach. So I mean, in my opinion, sometimes that's even better, than the actual donation.
For sure. I mean, there is definitely a wide range of costs in there. It's kind of a lot of budget friendly to
I try, yeah.
Even better, yeah, it works. So if I'm assuming you're gonna hit the goal, let's fingers crossed you hit the goal. If the goal is not hit, does the movie still get made?
It is.
Okay.
It might take a little bit longer to get started because I'll have to, try to find some more financing. The way I've looked at, and I'm upfront with everybody. The $11,000 after Indiegogo fees. Indiegogo is taking $1,000. That's why I said 11, so that we actually get our 10. 10 will literally cover every single thing I want to do for this movie, exactly how I need to do it, pay for everything that needs to be done. Realistically, if we don't hit that, if we hit around 7 to 7,500, I can do 95% of what I want to do. So what I tell everybody is like, if we can get to that 775, you're gonna get a great experience, But if we can get to that 10, 11, then some extra little kills things that I want to do that cost a lot.
Yeah,
I'll actually do.
That stuff, that like the effects and stuff, we eat a lot of a budget, especially in an indie film, for sure.
Yeah. Well, see, when I watch horror movies, I don't see enough kills with a sledgehammer, and there's a very gory death that I want to do with a sledgehammer, and my effects person is like, we need some money for that. Yeah. So that's one really big thing I'm trying to get.
Right. sure he's probably hyped to do it though.
Oh man, I'm so hyped. I've seen like
Yeah.
concept sketches, and I'm like, I've not seen anything like that, like in a movie. Like it's insane the amount of detail to go into one single kill. It's like crazy, but I hope we're able to do it because it's going to be awesome.
I think that is really exciting when you watch a new horror movie and you see somebody get killed in a way like you never seen before. Like
Oh yeah,
like on the first Terrifier movie with the saw,
yeah.
that like
Oh.
that was new. I was like, yeah, that's new. Or
Yeah.
watch it like that's
I
something
think
new.
I'd remember if I saw that before.
Yeah, never seen that.
Well,
But
see what's cool about this one, and I'm trying not to give it away, but what's cool is it's almost like whatever those Rube Goldberg machines are, where one thing leads to another to another. So like the first like sledgehammer hit leads to another thing to another. So it's like this person like kind of gets killed like 4 times because one builds off the other. It's really hard to. It's like they're doing the effects for 4 kills, but it's really only one. It's
so
hard to
it's gonna
say.
be
It's
like
very crazy detailed. Like
right.
I'm stoked. I hate even talking about it because I'm like, man, then it really doesn't make sense when I try to explain
Yeah.
it. But it's cool. I promise.
Yeah. But we could tell by the excitement that it's going to be good. Knowing you're a big horror guy and grew up watching all the crazy gory 80s stuff. That's
I
good.
did.
Theo, so go to Indiegogo, just search grandma and it'll pop right up. Huh?
Yep,
It's the
it'll
easiest
come.
way to do it.
When I do it, it's the first thing. I'm assuming it's like that for everybody. I don't know, but that'll come straight up. Just go to Indiegogo, type a little magnifying glass in the corner, type in grandma. There's another grandma Indiegogo that comes up for some other thing, but I think it's literally like trying to help a grandma. So I don't think you'll mistake the two.
Don't worry about that, grandma.
Yeah. Look at the scary looking picture, not the sweet one.
The scary grandma, not the sick one. Yeah.
Yeah, not the sick.
She's doomed anyways, but yeah. I'm kidding. That's messed up. I'm joking. Hopefully somebody's grandma is okay and holster or whatever.
Check their Indiegogo out too after you check ours.
Check them both out, yeah. And then send them the link to yours. So
I was just gonna say maybe like send a copy of the Blu-ray to that grandma once it's ready to go. I mean,
Thanks,
that might
grandma.
make her feel better.
Yeah.
It might.
Yeah.
That might turn everything around.
We can hope.
That's funny. So we'll throw a link up right to the Indiegogo from the show notes.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's here comes a bad pun, but let's be kind and rewind a little bit here and tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I was born in '84. I grew up liking comic books, horror movies, stuff like that. Never grew out of it. Worked at a video store when I was in high school, and absolutely loved it until it went out of business, and I had to go get what I call a real job. Because that job was like just so much fun, I didn't consider it a job. So yeah, I did that. Went to school, majored in English. I wanted to be an English teacher or a writer. I never did either one of them, but I graduated, and then moved on to other things. I always wanted to make movies, but I never really thought it was like feasible. I never thought like, oh, like I can't just make a movie. That's got to be somebody else, like you got to go to college for all this and all this stuff. And I didn't go to college for filmmaking. So I just never thought it was like in the realm of possibilities. So I would like steal my dad's camcorder, and me and my cousin we'd go to the cemetery down the road from our house, sneak out of our house at like midnight, film like little goofy things, like just playing around. And then we would share those they were like little mini DV tapes that went to an adapter that you would play in your VCR. And we would share them around at school. So they would like watch our little movies and stuff, So that was kind of cool. But, then I went on and I worked corporate at Walmart management. And then I did like AT&T corporate business sales but the whole time I was like in the movies and stuff. So then COVID hit, and when COVID hit, I was out of work and started watching a lot of movies and stuff. Started really getting into the old like mom and pop video store stickers and stuff that I would find on tapes, and I brought up the idea of a documentary, and I said I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do it. So I just went all in and raised the money, planned everything, and just figured out filmmaking. And I mean, honestly, like I saw it, but I Googled and YouTubed and everything. Like And I mean, I don't even try to act like I'm like the most professional guy in the world when I started out. Like, I was literally Googling, like, how do I make a documentary? You know, like just whatever I could find. And I just put every minute of my waking life was into learning how to do this. Taught myself how to do it. Got a ton of people on board for the documentary, like Lloyd Kaufman and stuff. Filmed it, just me and two of my buddies drove around the United States and filmed this stuff. And you know, we put it together and it looked really good. So then I got reached out to from Donald Farmer, and he's like, "Hey, you want to work on Shark Exorcist?" So I'm like, "All right, cool." And I worked with him on that. And then I was like, you know what? I think this whole like thing I had growing up where I thought there's no way I could be a filmmaker, like I think I was wrong. You know, I think anybody can be a filmmaker, you know, really. And then I just started making movies, man. And then, you know, I have really bad, I just realized what they call it. They call it imposter syndrome. Never had heard of it in my life. I have really bad, like, imposter syndrome. So when people would contact me, be like, "Hey, I'd like to hire you for this because I love your short film Intinction," I'd be like, "Do they really, though?" You know what I'm saying? And then it took a long time for me to get over that. But yeah, man. And then I'm a filmmaker now, I guess I could say. But yeah, it was, and I say that because I know a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know have also said, "I don't feel like I'm a filmmaker," or "I don't think I could ever make movies," you know? And I'm like, if I, like, I know people say this all the time, but like, if I can do it, like literally anybody can do it, because I never thought that there was ever an opportunity a regular person can make a movie, you know, but you can.
That's awesome. So you mentioned Shark Exorcist. Do you know if he ever finished part 2 yet? Did that come out yet?
It's finished. Yeah, it's finished. As far as I know, it's coming out like this summer, spring, somewhere right around there. I know it's coming out this year, but I think it's spring or summer. I've seen the final cut of it and everything, so I know it's done.
As fun as the first one?
I still like the first one better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm involved with the second one, but I do still prefer it. I mean, I'll tell Donald to his face, that is a goofy movie, bro. But
oh, yeah. It's
fun to laugh at, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely fun. Entertaining. Yeah. It's entertaining enough that it's like you look past the imperfections, which is what I like. That's what...
Well, then you love Shark Exorcist.
Oh, yeah. I dug it. I thought it was fun.
Good.
That's cool, man. Glad to hear you just went for it.
And that's it, man. Yeah, it's like I said, I didn't have anything like at all, bro. Like, I didn't have a camera when I decided I was going to do the documentary. So I was like, all right, I guess I got to make a documentary. So, but I just poured into YouTube, man, and asking questions. I would know people that are filmmakers and be like, "Hey, I hate to bug you. Can I ask you this?" And I honestly think it's better than any, like, I don't knock school, but I'm just saying, like, when you actually invest the time in yourself and you really put in the work, I mean, I don't think there's a training better than that, you know, when you're really motivated to do it.
Yeah, and you do it the way that works best for you too.
Exactly. I think that's the great, because I mean, there's no way I would know the things I know now if I just sat in a class. I'd be bored out of my mind hearing people talk about this, you know. But
yeah,
the fact that I'd see it and then go do it, and then see it and then go do it, that's how I felt I learned better, you know.
For sure. That's cool. I want to make a movie now.
You can, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's some of your early influences? There's some of your early exposure to horror besides video stores, and do you recall like the first time you were scared by a movie or something?
So it's funny, like I really don't remember ever being scared of a movie, because like my mom was pretty young and she would rent movies and watch them, and she never really acted like they were scary. So I guess I never really grew up in the environment where I was like, you know, I would be scared if I like turned the hallway light off and I had to run in the dark to my bedroom door or something like that. But like movies never really did it. But my mom always tells the story that, so she had me when she was 17, so she was like super young, and I was born in August. Just a couple months later in 1984 is when Nightmare on Elm Street came out in theaters. She wanted to go see it. She couldn't find a babysitter, so she literally took me at 2 months old and sat me in her lap while she watched Nightmare on Elm Street in the movie theater. So that, I guess, is my first movie theater experience, although I don't remember any of it.
So she fucked you up from the get-go.
She did. This is all her fault.
Yeah.
But I remember going to the video store And this is one of my early memories. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, and we lived in Lancaster, South Carolina. And there was this little community video. It wasn't called community, but like a community video store. So we went there, and my mom's walking around with my uncle, and I'm walking around. And they go to the horror section, and I'll never forget it. They look at the Night of the Demons box. The original Night of the Demons is on the shelf. I look at it, and I'm like, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like 4 or 5 years old, like I've never seen anything like that. So they rent it. They go home. They put me in the bed, and I know they're getting ready to put that movie in, and I want to see it so bad. So I snuck up, and there was like a little bit of space between the wall and the couch, and our couch was kind of like up off the ground, maybe 7 or 8 inches. I was small enough to where I climbed behind the couch and under the couch, and I watched the entire movie underneath the couch quietly while my mom and my uncle were on top of the couch, like watching the movie. So, like that was probably the first horror experience that I ever remember, because I just remember seeing that cover and just being like, I have to see this movie. So yeah, I watched the entire movie underneath the couch until the movie was over, and I climbed out and I was like, hey, I hope I'm not in trouble, but I'm under the couch.
That's good. I like that's one of the best early stories we've heard yet. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you probably had that I have to watch this movie feeling over and over and over after that. Just got that bug.
Oh, I did, man. And then my dad, he like worked out in the garage and stuff a lot, out in his workshop in his building, and he had a standee. It was the Coors standee with Elvira.
Oh yeah.
And like I stood there, and I had to stand there for hours and just stare at it. I was like 5, 6 years old, and I'm like, what is she? And my dad was like, oh, she hosts horror movies, So we would watch like the Thriller video, VHS and stuff. And so I started watching Elvira, because of that. So
yep.
It was a good time, man.
I remember being young and wondering what was so fascinating about her. Like, why am I so drawn to her? Like at 8 years old, or however old I was. I don't know. I was born in 79, so when those chorus standees were around, I was probably 6 or 7, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I got Elvira tattooed on me because of those days. So
nice.
It was very, I guess, very impactful on a young mind.
Yeah, in many ways. Many ways. Yeah, no, I'm definitely a big fan of her and what she does. I'm kind of horror host obsessed. I'm sure you probably see me post a million things on my feed.
Man. I
and
love
stuff.
horror hosts, dude. I miss them. I wish there was still a ton around like there used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few out there. There's quite a few out there.
I've seen like Sven Gulli and Joe Bob and stuff, but I know there's like a bunch of little ones, like in different cities or whatever.
Yep.
There's a young friend of ours named Dario Evil. You should check him out sometime.
I will, man. I love horror hosts, so I definitely will.
It's cool to see somebody that's I'd say he's probably in his early 20s. Yeah, that's into that culture.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great because that is really a thing of the past, man. So for him to keep it alive, that's awesome.
Exactly. Well, mention your social media and all that stuff again real quick before we let you get back to your evening.
Yeah. I just so I keep it easy. It's Bobby Canipe Jr. Canipe with a C, if that helps. But so on Facebook, Bobby Canipe Jr., Twitter, Bobby Canipe Jr., Instagram, Bobby Canipe Jr. I don't use Twitter a whole lot, but I do have one. Mainly use Facebook and then a little bit of Instagram, but mainly Facebook.
Right on. And go to Indiegogo and just search grandma. Just make sure you find the creepy grandma and not the dying grandma. And you'll be
not the dying.
I mean, there might be a dying grandma. No spoilers or nothing. We don't.
Hey, I haven't checked it in a few days. They might have hit their goal and saved her. I don't know.
There you go. I'm going to have to go look. But anyways, Bobby, thank you, man. Thanks for popping in. Finally got to get this done.
Thank you, man.
And let's everybody listening, go check out the campaign. If you could kick something in and help out, awesome. And like you said, sharing it helps just as much. So spread the word. And
you guys have some really great perks. Like you took the time to get creative, with some of the things that you could offer. Like that comic book sounds really fun.
Oh, I'm stoked. Like I said earlier a million times, I love comic books, bro. So like to have a comic based on one of my movies, that's awesome, dude. I can't think of anything cooler, you know.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for joining us on the Steven Crypto Show.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, this is Dr. Gangrene. You're watching the Steve. No, you're not. You're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show right here on whatever network you're on. I don't know what you're on. Don't ask me. I can't see what you're doing, but keep listening and tune in next week for more cool content on the Steve and Crypto Show.
All right, we are back. Thanks to Bobby Canipe for telling us about grandma. Not his grandma, about his movie grandma. His grandma is probably a nice lady. So yeah, go find that campaign, support it, help him get that movie made. It's going to be pretty awesome. I know I already kicked in and got my name in credits. I had to be part of it. Sounds good. I think it's time to get to this week's trivia with the interview out of the way. So, Crypto Zoo, take it away.
Okay. I'm doing my best to not get mad at this whole camera issue we're having with Zoom right now. But anyway, let's move on to some important issues.
You sound good, so that's what matters.
Okay. So I went to Best Buy recently and was looking at their movie section for just for the hell of it, honestly. I mean, just hoping I'd find something decent. And I did. I found a box set of all of the Wishmaster films all together. Now, I'm a big fan of the first one, especially, and I probably should have got the whole box set. I didn't. I'll go back and get it later. But what I want to know this week, how many movies are in the Wishmaster series, the Wishmaster collection, whatever you want to call it? How many movies are in it? That's our question.
Movies. Not how many good movies, how many actual movies.
Yeah. How many movies are in it, are in that series? Give us the answer to that, and we will send a couple stickers your way, and we will also put your name in a drawing for a bigger prize down the road. So again, just hit us up online, the Steve Stroud Crypto Zoo, maybe even send us a message on the Facebook group or whatever, and just say episode 106. Here's the answer.
All right, so now you guys got the trivia thing. Get the answer into us. I did mention that we had a little announcement. So we are retiring. Just kidding. We're not retiring. But we are scaling back the show a little bit. We've been doing it weekly. We're going to go back to every other week for a limited time. Just because I've kind of neglected a lot of stuff in personal life and I just got some catching up to do on things. We ain't going nowhere, but we are going to be back to weekly as soon as possible. This is just a temporary thing, but we are going to go back a little bit. And
yeah, we are. Every other week for now. We'll see where things take us down the road. I did want to chime in and say, all this time, all this first 2 years here of doing this, Steve has busted his ass with the recording all of this time. He's, had that under his belt. So, I have a new computer now. My computer that I had before was like 11, 12 years old. So I'm going to try to take some of the pressure off of them. I'm going to work on some editing and try to figure that out myself. So if you start hearing episodes with a bunch of goofy sounds thrown in, that's probably from me.
Hopefully not, but
as I like to play with the soundboard. But yeah, I wanted to say that, props to Steve for really like having all the editing work on his shoulders all of this time, and I thank him for it. And I'm happy that we're able to do this show together, and so we'll see.
We're gonna continue to do it.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's been a blast, and it's gonna continue to go on, and we're gonna get that Rondo nomination. Everybody get their nominations in. I told you guys how to do it. Jump on our social medias and figure out how to nominate us. You want to. We're your third favorite podcast, so that should at least get us like a runner up or something. So yeah, with that being said, we're gonna wrap the episode up. And he ran through all the places to support us. He's going to tell you again because he has kids and he's used to having to repeat his damn self all the time. So he's going to tell you all again. True. Just make sure after the episode you go leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen at.
Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Steve Crypto. Go to patreon.com/Steve Crypto to go check out some exclusive content that you're only going to find there. Be sure to check out our Etsy page at Etsy/shop/Steve and Crypto merch. Get yourself a t-shirt, a coffee mug, a magnet for your fridge. Hit us up. We'll send you some stickers if you're a fan of the show and you like what you've been hearing. Be sure to follow us online at CryptoZoo88 at the Steve Strout. Also, we have the Facebook group. Go find us. I believe that covers everything. This is episode 106. Hope y'all got your kicks. Peace.
See you next time.